What's going on, guys? It's Tuesday at 7:29. I got excited to hit the start button. Figured why not just go ahead and go. It's the Tuesday night live stream. I'm your host, Carson. Happy to be here for another wonderful Tuesday. Basically just woke up because I've been working overnight, so we're going to go ahead and show off my haul from last week and then see if anyone actually joins us, because we have Tacoma Comics so far in the chat, and he just went live with a Stephanie Hans haul, which I'll definitely have to check that out, because after C2E2, I guess it's been almost 2 weeks. Wow. Time flies when you're having fun. But anyway, new founded fan of Stephanie Hans after meeting her at C2E2. That was a lot of fun. Hey, we got Comic Core Chad. He's in the chat. Speaking of that, I'll plug it at the end of the show, but I did leave in the link below. Chad has put together some t-shirts for the Comic Core. So if you guys are actually looking for t-shirts that say Comic Core newsstand, so there you go. I had to do one for the t-shirt. We got it's Wednesday with Starfire on it. You can make up the last word yourself. I try to keep it clean for the most part on this show. And then for some reason, there's a if you guys like need a B show t-shirt, there's one for Comic Core Unlimited. But anyway, we got Cac right now. He says the champ who runs the camp is here. But nonetheless, buy the shirt. So there you go. There's the plug, and then we'll get in. I'll show the website off at the very end of the show, so everyone can see that. I think they're actually discounted since they're brand new too. So that was a phenomenal time. If you guys need Comic Core t-shirts, I highly recommend checking them out. But without further ado, show off some books. I got a couple. I'll be honest, you guys know I love me a good cover like anyone else in the comic book community, so I had to get these two. I got Sabrina Teenage Witch #1 from the Archie Forever line. For some reason, well, we all know the reason, every shop in my area only had the Adam Hughes. So I'm like, cool, no, I don't have to seek out this Adam Hughes cover. So very beautiful. I just love Salem clinging on for life there. Just a cool cover. That's definitely one of the nicer Hughes ones I've seen for a while. And then here is Spawn 295. Pretty cool Matina cover. I know everyone's like, he's a tracer. Like, I couldn't trace that, so come on. That's a good cover. So, got Clown. He's having a bad day. And for some reason, the shop I went to actually had the Virgin variant, so for $3. So, I figured why not go ahead and grab that. So, for my picks I actually read, here's Ice Cream Man. This is number 11. I am so happy this book's back on track. It was a very fun book for a while. And then they started like this Ice Cream Man origin crap for 2 issues. Actually, it might have technically been 3. And I'll be honest, I was almost ready to cancel the book after that, just because I wasn't feeling the storyline. But now they're kind of getting back into basics in terms of what made the book fun originally, which is anthology horror. So in this one, I don't know if you guys out there have ever seen this movie. I think it's either from the late 80s or early 90s, called Stay Tuned. It's starring John Ritter. And basically what happens in that is he decides to get satellite finally. It's during the big satellite boom of the early 90s where everybody's getting cable and satellite and everything. So John Ritter gets satellite, and him and his wife get trapped in the satellite because they made a good deal on their cable package. Turned out the devil was selling it. So he gets trapped in these channels that are like hell themed. And that's exactly what happens in this issue of Ice Cream Man. So I could definitely tell whoever wrote this absolutely watched Stay Tuned and then wrote this comic book, because it's like the exact same plot and everything, except this guy doesn't have the luck of John Ritter, because yeah, him and his I can't remember if it's like his uncle or something. He basically gets trapped in hell with him inside TV. So it's a very fun issue. So like every 2 or 3 pages is like a channel in hell. And then he has to go through them all, of course, as you can kind of tell by the cover. And I think there's also a Babs Tarr B cover for this. But honestly, when it comes to Ice Cream Man, I kind of like my A covers better, because they actually tell you what's happening in the comic. So gotta appreciate that. Here is Dial H for Hero #1. I actually just got done reading this before I hit start on the live stream. This one wasn't too bad, actually. I always like Joe Quinones's art. And for the most part, he didn't disappoint in this one. I did enjoy there's a part where he kind of breaks away into a 90s type superhero, and he has all kinds of like goofy one-liners and stuff, so it's kind of funny. But this is more or less the origin story about how the main character goes from operating a mayonnaise truck, which sounds extremely gross, to basically finding this phone where he can dial H and become a superhero. Which I kind of like the story at the beginning of this where he's describing why he wants to be a superhero. Basically, he had an incident happen to him as a child, and now Superman saved him, and he was influenced by Superman, basically. So just a nice, simple origin story. So didn't mind that. Next up, decided to get 2 covers of this because I wanted my reader copy, and this variant, had to pick it up once I saw it. Got it for, I think, $15 is what I paid for it. I usually don't buy the overpriced variants, but come on. Bill Sienkiewicz drawing Sue Richards. Had to have it. I think Midtown was selling it for like $50. So I'm like, 15, I'll go ahead and just take it. Why not? So thought that was a phenomenal cover, so I decided to pick that up. But I also got this as well to read. And this was pretty much my pick of the week last week, was Fantastic Four. So Dan Slott just continues to knock it out of the park on this one. The only kind of concern I have on this is it comes up monthly and not bi-weekly, but yet I have 5 artists. Like, why do we need 5 artists for Fantastic Four? Like, probably Aaron Kuder himself could have drew this, so I'm not sure why we needed that many artists. And it's not like there's like, I mean, there are different segments in this where, Doom has all the Fantastic Four imprisoned. So basically he's, interrogating them one at a time. So I kind of get that they wanted to do a different art flow for each member of the Fantastic Four, I guess. But I'm not sure. I just, that kind of kills me when books do that. There's been a couple exceptions. I just read Infinite Crisis about a month or 2 ago. They have George Perez draw Earth 2, and then Phil Jimenez sticks to Earth 1, which I thought that was really cool. But this one, it didn't feel like it needed to be done. But other than that, the story is phenomenal. If you guys are Doctor Doom fans, you need to be picking up Fantastic Four right now. He has beaten Galactus and the Fantastic Four at the same time. So he is just kind of reveling in it. He's basically using Galactus's power to strengthen Latveria. He's using the Fantastic Four as a scapegoat for people to hate the Fantastic Four and then to like Latveria more. So naturally, at the end of this, the one thing to do is to make the Fantastic Four a distraction so Sue can make Doctor Doom's clothes and armor disappear on a live camera. So very hilarious, crazy ending. But yet, in the world of Doom, that is like the ultimate insult, showing his face, let alone his whole scarred, screwed up body. So issue 9 is going to be very interesting to see what Doom's next move will be. But before I get into the next book, I do want to get back into the chat because we got people hopping in here saying hi. We got Stay Puft 1983. What is going on, man? He says, what's going on, everyone in the chat? We also have Brandon Stawinski Comics, which I believe Brandon tomorrow may be a part of the auction on All About Comics JP's channel. I'm still severely disorganized from C2E2, so I'm going to take this auction off because I literally have 2 stacks of books I need to go through, figure out, sorry, we're live, figure out what doubles I got, sell my doubles off. I got a couple good keys I want to make sure I look at correctly and price them right before I put them in an auction. But nonetheless, All About Comics JP is having an auction tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern, and Brandon Stawinski is part of the auction group. There we go. Finally got my water. Oh, and I got my new commemorative mug last week. So there you go. Who else we got in here? We got Tacoma Comics. He just went live right before this, showing off his Stephanie Hans haul. He made it back. So nice to see you, Tacoma, in the chat. We also have, oh, man, Burn It Down. We got Sam's Tangled Web. What's going on, man? Stick around at the tail end of the show. I'm going to get my comic stuff out of the way first, but it's WrestleMania week. We've got to talk about WrestleMania 35, so stay tuned for that. And, well, let me get my drink back out. There he is. We got Bake the Snake. What is going on, man? He loves him. Some Dr. Doom. He says, Doom for life. Absolutely. We got Comic Head 84. What's going on, man? Happy to see you in the chat. Wonder if he'll be live this week with Chad 90 MF Comics, which, speaking of Chad 90, we still need to figure out that live show we're doing with Tony. I've been slagging on that, so I'll probably send some communication in the next couple days. So look out for an exclusive Comic Core show with Tony Sanders, Chad 90, and myself. We'll review hopefully a couple comics, but still need to work that out. Brandon says, I'll be putting up Josh Middleton's Batgirl, including Batgirl 23. So I almost thought about selling mine at one point, but I'm just like, this cover's too dang beautiful. So I put it on my wall instead of selling it. So if you guys want that Batgirl 23, that's the Middleton one that blew up last year. Definitely bid up on Brandon's auction because he takes great care of his books. He ships very well. So you know you're going to get a good book from him. And we also got Comics with Bueller. What's going on, man? Hopefully we'll see Bueller's take on WrestleMania next week, along with Legend, myself, and Chad from the Comic Core. I don't know if we'll be doing it that night because it's a freaking 8-hour show. I don't even know if that includes the pre-show or not. But hopefully we'll all get together once again to talk about some wrestling. Maybe Sam's Tangled Love will be there too. But nonetheless, so we look forward to that. We got Comic Spectre in the chat. What is going on, Comic Spectre? I believe he's going live right after this, so I need to make sure I get my crap in and don't stretch out the show because I don't want to step on Comic Spectre's toes because he's going to have a great live show himself. That's right after this one tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And here's a guy I haven't seen for a minute. We got Justin from Exile State Comics. What's going on, man? Glad to see you in the chat. I'm guessing he's going to go live this Thursday for Comic Conversation at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Those guys always have a great show as well. And then we got poor Mike in the chat saying hi to everybody. And let's see. I think I finally made it. All right, back to the comics. Farmhand's back. I can't remember if I showed this last week, but I'm showing it again because I got signed by Rob Guillory at C2E2. So as you can kind of tell by this cover, stuff's getting real in the world of Farmhand. Issue 5 ended with basically an infection coming out and, you know, spreading the animals, you know, basically the same type of stuff that grows organs for the farmers to use in this. So we're getting more crazy infected animals in the world. And eventually you're going to see things just blow up. So happy Farmhand's back. It's going to be on that monthly rotation for the next 4 more issues. And then I think Rob Guillory's getting a break after issue 10 again, which well-deserved. This book looks great. It's written great. I can't recommend Farmhand enough. Finally read me some Young Justice #3, and this might be my favorite DC book going right now. I actually enjoyed the fact that we finally, after the hot dog and grandstanding, we get Connor Kent's story, what he's been doing on Gym World. First, he's happy to see Bart, a.k.a. Impulse. They reunite in Gym World, and then we kind of figure out that, you know, our friends have no place in Gym World, and Connor's been hanging out there. He's been a farmer, and he has a wife and kid. It's revealed at the very end. So I'm very happy to see that, you know, Bendis has taken a little bit of a risk with Connor, but he's basically taken him back to those Kent roots and making him a family farmer. So I thought that was a pretty bold move. So I'm really excited to see what Bendis is going to do with this book. Because the other books that Bendis has been writing in the DC continuity have been a little flat to me. But I've really enjoyed Young Justice issues 1 and 3. Issue 2 is, we got a little bit of the Cassie Sandsmark Wonder Girl storyline, but I need to see my boy Superboy and see what he's been up to since the New 52 kicked off. So next up, had to buy the both covers on this one too. Got Shazam #4. This one, it goes in that not too bad pile for me until the splash panel at the end. So we're still getting the kids. They're basically trapped in this magical world with Mr. Mind. He's going crazy on them too. So, but at the end, we get our first tease of Black Adam to see what's going on with him. So I'm very excited to see some Shazam versus Black Adam with Jeff Johns writing it. So I got that cover. And then in my pulls at my local shop, they just had the A cover too. So I actually ended up getting the B cover, then forgot my shop was pulling that. This is what I'll be honest, I'm probably getting ready to drop very soon. Isola, I think this was issue 6. So it's one of those books, they don't even put the number on the cover. But I kind of select the first one I read. It says I bought it last Wednesday. So I've already forgotten the number. So that shows you how much the book meant to me, I guess. But nonetheless, I feel like in this book, they're just kind of going in circles at this point. So we still have, you know, Rook and the queen who's been turned into a tiger. They're still trying to get to the magical land of Isola, and it's kind of like Lord of the Rings Two Towers at this point. I feel like they're trying to get to Mordor to drop the ring in, and they're just kind of going in circles, except we don't have that, entertaining side character bad guy yet. So I don't know where this book's going. It's still a beautiful book, don't get me wrong. It's kind of like what's that other book? The Jen Bartel book that has pretty art, but the story is yeah. So I might be dropping this for something else, but I enjoyed the first arc, but the second arc so far has gone nowhere. So I gotta be honest. I'm gonna give it one more issue and see what happens. So, but like I said, beautiful book. So I ended up getting 2 copies of the Incredible Hulk Facsimile Edition because why not? I actually went to one shop that I usually don't go to, and they had a bunch of them. So like, yeah, I may as well go ahead and get that because I think I forgot to hold it at my local shop. And my local shop was smart enough to hold it for me anyway. So I just, since they held it, I bought it. So got a couple copies of this because why not? It's an iconic issue. And we do this where it's no, that's not it. So I don't know where it's in that pile somewhere. I'm not gonna sort that out and actually bin something, but you know what it looks like. And then I have the originals, and I have the facsimile ones. Tacoma Comics at Blackbird by Jim Bartel. Thank you, Tacoma. That's the one I was trying to think of. And for the final book I actually bought and really enjoyed last week, we got Detective Comics 2000. 2000. Wow, I'm in the future. 1000. So this is what happens. You have to work nights. You forget numbers that are important. But anyway, I got the midnight release variant for Detective Comics 1000. Arrow was like, oh, these covers are so cool, and I'm gonna get like the whole set or whatever. I'm just like, they're all right. I almost bought the Bruce Timm one and the Steranko one, and actually the Michael Cho one was fine too. But when you're talking $10 a pop, you gotta limit yourself a little bit. And then there were some other ones I thought were just all right, like the Jock one. I'm a big Jock fan, but it just had that face profile, and I wasn't a huge fan of that cover, so I had to pass on that. And the Capullo one, I like his covers on the New 52 Batman a lot better. That one was all right too, but for me, I had to go with Jim Lee because you can't go wrong with Jim Lee. Especially this is the poster they were giving away at C2E2 last week, so I thought that was kind of cool. So I'm just going to go over the stories I like specifically in this issue because there's a lot of just small stories in this by good writers and artists. My only kind of little tiny complaint about this is for you hardcover and trade fans out there, obviously we're getting like a 100-page giant here basically. The only thing I kind of didn't like about the flow of this is what I call the gutter loss, because I don't want to bend the crap out of this, so sometimes you can't tell where the story says the end because they put it like, here, I'll just try to find a dumb example of what I'm talking about here. So like, where's the end of the Snyder one here? Because that's the first one. See, I lost it again. So like in there, in this tiny corner, that's where it says the end of that story, and then they start the next one. So for me, when I was reading this at first, with the whole Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo, Slam Bradley story, which was pretty awesome, by the way, I kind of read it a little bit like this with the pages pinched, so I couldn't tell where his story started, the Scott Snyder one ends, and the Kevin Smith one begins, which is a very nice one as well. The Kevin Smith one actually may be kind of my favorite in a way, just because I thought it was pretty cool. Well, number one, you had Jim Lee drawing it, so that definitely helped things. Basically, he disguises himself as Matches Malone, which is one of his main aliases that he uses, and he buys the gun that killed his parents. And Alfred's just like, this is one of the most bat crazy things you've done. I understand the giant penny and the dinosaur, but why do you need this gun? And he decided he melts it down to protect his heart and chest, basically. And that's why, if you've read like the Frank Miller Dark Knight run, obviously Kevin Smith that's one of his all-time favorite Batman stories. He puts it under the big yellow bullseye, basically. So he decided to take something that was extremely terrible and bad in his life and turn it into a good thing to protect himself. So I thought that was a pretty cool story. There's the next one, which was, see, once again, it kills me. You're looking for where it says the end, and it's in that corner. That good old gutter loss. So, but what do you do with something this big? So you have the Legend of Newt Brody. It's the Paul Dini one with Dustin Wynn drawing it. So I thought it was just kind of a funny story where it turns out Damon's in disguise at the end of that. Then we have the Warren Ellis Batman design. That one wasn't too bad either. I think the next one I kind of really liked was the return to Crime Alley, which is Denny O'Neil and Steve Epting. Which, can we give these guys a book, please? That's a really awesome team right there, because you have Captain America's Steve Epting, which his work was awesome on that one, and Denny O'Neil. You can't go wrong with some Denny O'Neil. So basically, you get a Leslie Tompkins story where she sees Batman just obliterating someone in Crime Alley, and at that point, she knows it's Bruce because she was a friend of the family basically, and she knows everything that's happened to Bruce at that point. So she just kind of sees what's going on. And she's like, Bruce, you got to take it easy. You can't. Basically, she's just one of the first people to tell Batman, like, you're not going to kill. And obviously, he knows that too. So you kind of just get to see someone else's perspective. And then you get some Neil Adams art in there for good measure, because why not? Even though I'm not a fan of his, more current style. But hey, you get older, that happens. And then you get the Priest writing that one. And I think the last one I really liked was the actually I think it was the Bendis one. Yeah, the Brian Bendis, Alex Maleev one called I Know, just because I like that creative team from Daredevil and Marvel. So basically you get this storyline where the Penguin and Bruce Wayne, they're both older men. Bruce Wayne's actually in a wheelchair, kind of like on Batman Beyond. And it's just Penguin basically telling him, he's just like, I know. I've known all along you're Batman, Bruce Wayne. And he's like, at this time, I just need you to know before I took you out. And then Bruce Wayne, he's still Batman. He still knows how to take a villain out. He basically can shoot lightning from his chair now like the Emperor. So I enjoyed that. But this was so much. They must have learned from a lot of their mistakes in Action Comics 1000 because this was great. Like, hopefully the next big milestone they have, they just decide to do something pretty similar, because this was a lot better than Action Comics 1000. And I don't know if that's just because they have better writers that like Batman better. I don't know. But I was very happy with that milestone issue. But let's get back into the chat before I go over some half-price books and antique store hauls. We have what's going on, Mastodon Comics and Collecting. Don is in the house. What's going on, man? We have Epicurean Eye Relief. What's going on, man? I think that's the first time I've seen him on his channel, so I apologize for butchering your first name there, buddy, but happy to see you in the chat, because I think I saw you on Comic Core the other day. We also have JB from Discovery Bay Comics. I got to give JB a big thanks. I think he actually ordered the newsstand t-shirt from the Comic Core store, so big thanks to anyone who ordered that shirt. That's just hilarious to me that people are ordering t-shirts that say newsstand on them. So big thanks for that. Comic Spectre says, you make me happy. Love your show. Thanks, Spectre. Thanks. Chad from Comic Core said the ending is awesome. I think he was talking about the Shazam book from this week with the reveal of Black Adam at the end. And it looks like we had Prowler 671 hop in. What's going on tonight, Prowler? And with that, it looks like I've shouted out everybody. So I'll go ahead and get into a quick antique store haul. Then I actually went to 2 half-price books last week because why not? When you have 2 different ones, you may as well go to one if you're driving by it. So I got Lords of the Jungle. I think this was issue 11. I'm not a big Tarzan fan, but I did meet Lucio Perillo at C2E2, and he seemed like a really cool guy, especially if you've seen the coverage that JB from Discovery Bay has given on C2E2. He gave him just an awesome sketch for his sketchbook because he knew it was his first day with a sketchbook. And he was, as his girlfriend put, a true fan, basically, so he hooked him up with a remarked price on a sketch. So, when you do things like that for fans, you compels you to sell your books more. So had to get me some Perillo covers for $1 when I saw them. So I got this issue 11. And then I had issue 2 in the box as well. So I figured not get that Perillo cover. So I thought those were pretty nice for $1. And then I got this Machine Man, Barry Windsor Smith art. So I figured why not? Beautiful book. Only $1. So I decided to get that. And then the last one, I've heard this book's pretty solid. I just never had a chance to read it yet. Got Manhunter at #1 from the I think this, yeah, the early 2000s DC with the female Manhunter. So don't know too much about this book. I just know that Jay Lee had an awesome cover on it, and being a mid 2000s DC fan, figure I may as well check this out, see what that's like. So why not get that for $1? And then, like I said, I went to 2 half-price books last week. So, okay, let's stack 2. Oh, I forgot I got this from my local shop too this week. So my local shop called Vintage Phoenix here in Bloomington, Indiana, has started doing this new promotion on Mondays. Basically, Wednesday, as we all know, is New Comic Book Day. Tuesday is just no comic book day. That's why I decided to have my show on Tuesdays originally, because no one else talked about comics on Tuesdays. But Monday at my store now is referred to as Old Comic Book Day. So I think what happened is he got tired of everyone's like, when are you going to put this older comic out? I saw you got this, in a haul. When are you going to put it out for sale? When are you going to do this? When are you going to do this? Just like, screw it. Every Monday now, I'm just going to do something called Old Comic Book Day. So if you saw I got something on Instagram or Facebook, I'm just going to put it up on Monday. And if I don't have it this Monday, I'll have it the next Monday, so on and so forth. So hit some nice things. But, after going to a con this last weekend and buying some crazy turtle figures that I've already put up there, so I won't show them off today. I showed them off on Comic Core, but basically some NECA turtle figures like this. I spent a bunch of money the week before, so I wasn't looking to spend, $75, $80 on a comic. But what I did find, I found this whole Nick Fury versus S.H.I.E.L.D. run. It's 6 like pristine format issues, and I got them for $8. So I thought that was a really awesome deal, almost $1 a piece. But I just couldn't pass up this awesome painted Steranko cover on issue 1. So I look forward to seeing. I told him, I was like, I've never heard of these, but they look really awesome. So there's a Palmer cover on 6. So I'm definitely have to open these up and check these out because these look beautiful. And Sam's Tangled Love in the chat says this is an awesome miniseries. Now that guy knows his Marvel, so now I'm really glad about these because if Sam endorses this, I know it's going to be a great read. So there is that. All right, so back to half-price books. So I went yesterday and got these all of these books for $1. A lot of these are doubles for me, but there are a lot of books I just can't leave laying in the bins because I love them so dang much. So the first one I got a Avengers 233. So usually if I see a bronze or copper Avengers for $1, like, why wouldn't you get that at this point? And, hey, look at that. It's a newsstand. So there you go. Enjoy my newsstands, as you guys know. So this cover was kind of funny when I was just kind of looking it up online just because I was bored. There's nothing there, which it kind of looks nice because, like, they're fighting this barrier. But with that newsstand barcode, it just kind of hogs that little empty corner. So I thought that was kind of funny. Actually, I think I did need this one, even though I have like a different cover and a second print of this cover. But I got a Supergirl #1 from the Jeff Loeb and Churchill run. Just an awesome Mike Turner cover, one of his most iconic ones that he did for DC, in my opinion. So I was very happy to finally snag this up for $1. I may have just put it in a Mylar, just why not, down the lines, because I've always just wanted that cover. It was actually a little difficult to come by once it originally came out. Next up, I decided just why not go ahead and snag another copy of Sideways #1, just in case somebody does need it down the line. It's a decent book. Just got canceled, though, recently, but Dan DiDio has said many times over that Sideways is not dead. So I think this is the one character that are probably going to integrate more outside of the New Age of Heroes stuff that kind of bombed and into the DC universe. So we'll see what happens with Sideways, but figure this would be a good one to snag for $1. I believe this is a Dynamic Forces variant. I didn't even know this existed, so I had to do a little bit of looking up. Got a Superman 166 from that awesome Jeff Loeb Ed McGuinness run. Look how shiny. It's shiny. So I didn't know a shiny version of this existed, so this definitely caught my eye when I was flipping through the bin. So for $1, I was definitely not going to pass this up. I always thought it was funny. This cover always looked like, Superman could shoot missiles from his shoulders now. So gotta love it. Ed McGuinness and Jeff Loeb in the early 2000s. Great team. We got to keep going with some Mike Turner. Got Superman 203. This was that awesome, window where you had Mike Turner on Superman, and then the next issue you'd have Jim Lee and Brian Azzarello on Superman. So there was a lot of good Superman goodness in the 2000s, so I had to get that. Got some Superman Batmans. So got Supergirl. I'm sorry, Superman Batman 19 is basically would be reprinted as Supergirl 0. So you saw Superman or Supergirl 1. This is basically the prequel to that Supergirl 1. So figured why not go ahead and get that, because I also found issues number 12, which once again, iconic Mike Turner run on DC. So can't pass these up. Every time I see him for $1, I snag him every single time, because it's Mike Turner, one of the best artists ever for me. And then you have to get 13 as well. So for $1, I was not going to leave that in the bin. Maybe my second favorite Supergirl cover he did, besides that other one I just found. So doesn't get more iconic than that for Supergirl, besides maybe the Hughes cover. You guys know I wasn't going to leave this for $1. Web Spider-Man 97, first appearance of Nightwatch. So this is a speculation-heavy book now. So I'm like, yeah, for $1 and newsstand. So there you go. So decent quality newsstand copy, not leaving that in the bins. Still going for $1 a piece. We got Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips, Incognito #1. So this is going on my read pile tonight with those Nick Furies. I love me some Ed Brubaker. With him, usually if I like the first issue, I just try to get a hardcover version of it down the line. So figured why not try Incognito for $1. Got Infinite Crisis #2, Jim Lee cover for $1. I may already have this. If I do, I'll probably just throw this in a giveaway at some point. But I love me some Infinite Crisis. So once again, too bad it's not issue 3, first Jaime Reyes. But hey, I'll take this awesome Power Girl cover any day of the week. And we got 2 more $1 books I bought. So had to get those art germs. And I think, oh man, I forgot to put that interview down below. So if you guys like yourself some art germ, check out Chuckload of Comics channel. I think last Wednesday or Thursday, he finally uploaded the art germ interview that I did along with Chad from Comic Core and Chuckload. So if you guys like yourself some art germ, and also big thanks to JP All About Comics. I believe he's the one who actually told me to ask, what in the world does art germ mean, and what's up with that name? So people are like, yeah, that's an awesome question. I'm glad you asked. I'm like, JP put it in my head, so I had to ask it. So there you go. But nonetheless, I got the Great 10 issue 1. Some early art germ work. This is 2010 is the date on this. So there's probably a few other things he did for Xenoscope, but I don't think there's a lot of other DC books that art germ did before this one. And then I also found issue 6 for $1 that art germ did the cover on as well. So definitely happy with those for $1. Before I get into part 2 of half price books, or like the $1.50, $2 half price books, I want to get back into the chat. So we still have people hopping in and that stuff. And we just crossed 8 o'clock. So I got to speed things up. We still have Comic Spectre. He says that Perillo is hot. I think him and JB were reliving the memories of the sketchbooks. JB says your sketchbook is what impressed her. So hey, if I didn't have $73 in my pocket at that time, I might have tried to do the same thing you did. So I literally was $2 short of the remark price, and I wasn't going to go to an ATM because it was Sunday at the con. That's usually your lightest cash day. And by the way, before anyone tries to, pickpocket me, that $73 has been spent. So let's see who else we got going on in the chat. We got Midwest Comic Man Paul says, sorry. I'm like, no worries, man. Just glad you can make it into chat, Paul. Once again, definitely check out his channel. He's been putting out some cool videos lately, doing some artist spotlights and that type of stuff. I think he even had a liquor spotlight last week. I haven't had a chance to watch that video yet. So definitely check out his channel because he's been putting in some hard work lately, and it's definitely showing. He's got some great stuff. Oh, we got Steven Spock in the chat. What's going on, man? Happy to see you. Let's see. We got Jesse from JLS Comics. That's another part of that comic conversation Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. So definitely check those guys out. Comic Spectre says, are you aware of the Crisis on Infinite Earths box sets coming out? It collects everything. Yeah, I think I did see something about that. I was kind of thinking about if it's like, because up there, I think I've showed it in the past, I have the JLA Avengers box set that DC and Marvel put out like after that came out. And if it's anything like that, I wouldn't mind getting it, but it's probably going to be kind of pricey if it collects all the spinoffs and everything, because I wouldn't mind just like, I'm pretty sure it's probably like an absolute edition of Crisis out there. I should probably just go ahead and get that at some point, but yeah, I'll look into that. If it's for the right price, I might pick it up. But if it's a couple $100, I'll probably just pass. All right, so went a little nuts just because this one is a little bit out of my. It's like an hour away. This half price books, but most everything here I got for $2 or less. They don't have the outlet store pricing, unfortunately. But here's what I got. A couple doubles once again, but there's some great ones. So this one just came out. I didn't have this one. Detective Comics $9.98. I actually have $9.99 I was going to read, but I said, screw it. I skipped the 1,000 and it was awesome. But now at least I got $9.98 and it was only $2. So this one's barely like what, a month old, and they already have it in their bins for $2. So I figured why not go ahead and get that, give it a read. This is a double for me. Actually, if you look right there, I have it up on my wall as well. It's triple signed by Scott Snyder, Tynan, and Jason Fabak. But I love this issue so much. I decided, why not just go ahead and buy it again? In my opinion, this annual is the best New 52 comic book, single read. I've been saying that since I read it, and I think it still holds true up until Rebirth. But yeah, if you guys want like one solid Batman read, especially from Scott Snyder too, I can't recommend this one enough. This is the best New 52 comic book, bar none, in my opinion. So basically, this is the one where Scott Snyder has the retelling of Mr. Freeze's origin, and he puts a more murderous twist on it, basically. So more of a serial killer type twist, I should say, as well. So definitely check this one out. And it's, in my opinion, is almost Jason Fabak's breakout issue for DC2. He does the whole annual, and it looks very nice. So I got to recommend that one. Figure why not go ahead and pick up a 25th anniversary Marvel for $1. So I got Alpha Flight number 40. I'm slowly starting to collect these dang things like a lot of other people in the community. So I haven't seen an Alpha Flight one yet. So for $1, couldn't pass that up. Got some awesome Alec Holland action. Swamp Thing number 53 for $1.50. Can't pass up some Alan Moore Swamp Thing for cheap. Had pretty decent luck getting these lately. So you got Swamp Thing. Apparently, Gotham City has made him mad. I haven't got this far in my reread, or I shouldn't say reread. It's the first time I'm reading the Alan Moore Swamp Thing. I think I'm up to like issue 42. So I got issue 53 now. So happy to have that. For some reason, these Death of the Family books always get me. So when I see them cheap, I got to have them. So found Batman and Robin, issue 15, with the New 52 run. Got that cool die-cast Greg Capullo cover. So for $1.50, I wasn't going to leave that laying in the bin. Had a variant cover for Batman 21. So this is the digital copy combo cover. So I think this is technically the first appearance of Duke Thomas as well. So already had the other one, and it was a $5 book originally, but the nice folks at Half Price Books put $1.50 on it, so I figured why not go ahead and pick that up. We're going back to some Mike Turner, so I got Flash 211, one of my favorite Flash Mike Turner covers, $1.50 as well, from that awesome Jeff Johns run. So that's another one I need to sit down and give a serious read. Oh, and newsstand, there you go. Got to sell them shirts for Chad. I actually haven't looked this up yet. I don't know if it's some sort of reprint or what have you, but Gen 13 #1 is a book I buy every single time I see it for cheap, for like a couple bucks or less. So I'm not sure if this is like the beginning of volume 2 or if it's a reprint of volume 1, but I had just never seen this cover before. So I figured for $1.50, I'll go ahead and pick it up because I do love me some Gen 13. So I'm guessing it's a reprint of the first issue because it's written by Jim Lee and Brandon Choi. So thought that was cool. I think this is one of those Comic Tom comics. I found an X-Men #1 for $2, but it's that the No Claw variant, which I didn't know existed until I think I saw it on Comic Tom's channel. So I'm like, oh, there's that book. So all right after I watched that video, so I figured like, why not just go ahead and pick it up for a couple bucks? Because who doesn't love them some X-Men #1? This is another one I got. Yep, there it is. It's on my wall up top still, thank goodness. So I got it signed by Jim Lee, the fold-out one. So figure why not just go ahead and add another one to the collection. We got the Batman Death of the Family from the regular Batman run, issue 13, another die-cast cover. For some reason, they charged 50 extra cents for this, so I had to pay $2 instead of $1.50 on this one. But nonetheless, it was a $4 comic to begin with. So, hey, half off a comic people really like. And then I decided just to get this whole set because why not? They're $2 a piece. Been on my read list for a minute that I need to read it. And we're gonna use this as kind of a segue into our next segment. But this is Batman Gates of Gotham. I've been wanting to read this for a minute. So what happened was I basically bought these. I think I just found out they got added to the DC streaming app, so I didn't have to buy these to begin with. But nonetheless, we got Gates of Gotham. So this is some pre-New 52 Scott Snyder Batman. And it's also got Kyle Higgins writing it too. So it's co-written by those two gentlemen. So figured why not go ahead and pick this up because Scott Snyder kills it every time on Batman. So I got issue 1. And they had the entire series in there. So it was a great day to go into Half Price Books if you're a Scott Snyder fan, because there was actually a lot I left laying in there because I didn't need doubles of every single thing. But pretty much that like whole Joker on up and the Batman New 52, they had a lot of those issues for a couple bucks a pop. So, and then there is issue number 5. So I can actually read this not on the app now. So that's kind of nice. So I'll definitely be giving that a read as well. But let's get back into the chat because we still got all you crazy guys hopping in here. Let's see who we got. We got the Great Legend Show. He's in the chat. What is going on, Legend? Always like seeing my Comic Core bro in the chat. He's always saying the newsstand and that stuff. So I always love that. Always giving a plug. And we got our Comic Core sister. What's going on, Catrin Figures? Happy to see you in the chat. Glad you made it for the gatefold Batmans because I know you got those on your wall at your house. So that's awesome. I know you like those. Let's see who else we got. We got Prowler says, did you see Warrior? None. Aurelia has shut up now that Netflix picked it up for 10 episodes. I did not see that. So the only Warrior comic I know is about the weird Distrucity one with the wrestler. It's not good. I can tell you that. Let's see. We still got Beeler in the chat. Happy to see him. We still got Jesse from JLS Comics. And then, oh man, you guys are talking about Taco Bell lunch. I've been on a diet, but I also been working nights. So I told myself after the stream, I'm probably gonna watch a little bit of Comic Spectre at 8:30 p.m. my time, which is right after this. And then I'm probably gonna eat some Taco Bell and cheat on my diet tonight. So thanks for giving me that final push into getting some Taco Bell tonight. I think, yeah, there he is. We got Poor Man's Comics. He says, anyone selling Gotham City Sirens 1 variant up in here? Not yet. He's really twisted my arm on that book. I do have one signed by J.G. Jones. It might be coming up on a Signature Sundays, which Signature Sundays, if you guys hadn't checked that out, I put out part 8. I crossed. Here, let's just pull up the number I crossed because I think someone actually put it in the I think it was JB was asking how many books I'm up to so far. So let me see if I can pull up that information while I'm thinking about it, because I've had a blast rebagging and going through all these comics again. So if you guys haven't been keeping up with the, I call them the Joe Bob Briggs driveway totals, like on Monster Vision. But nonetheless, I crossed 763 signatures, 585 books. So if you guys want to see 585 books, I have a whole playlist for the Signature Sundays video, and I'm not even done with this bottom shelf, or next to bottom shelf. So I still have basically 4 shelves of short boxes to go. So there you go. All right. So we're using Gates of Gotham as a quick segue, and I got to pick it up because we still got to talk about WrestleMania. But anyway, I picked these up. I was going to read them, but then I found out the DC streaming app is adding like 20,000 comic books in the next month or two. So yeah, there's that. The main news I wanted to talk about, and I actually put it in my title as a little blurb, like, are they adding their new books to the DC streaming app? So what they revealed at WonderCon last week, I think they had a panel. I'm surprised not a lot of people have talked about it. So I'm like, screw it, I'll just talk about it tonight. It appears that DC is going to be adding new books. Well, probably like this. They'll be adding to the DC streaming app, but it's 12 months after release. So Marvel Unlimited does 6 months after release. So it looks like DC's doing 12, which is totally fine, because I'll be honest, like most of the Rebirth stuff I am not caught up on. So once they do that, it'll be a great chance to catch up and all that stuff. Which I'm glad Beeler's in the chat, because I know he loves talking about digital. So nonetheless, I just was curious of your guys' feedback at all. in the chat, or even in the comments below. Definitely leave it. Like, how will this affect your guys' pull list, like for DC and even Marvel stuff? Because I know I was talking a couple guys from the Comic Core, like, we're all kind of thinking about, like, should we just drop our mainstream books and go for the digital stuff? Because right now, like, this was $10, guys. If I can wait a year and then read this without that gutter loss I was talking about, that would probably be the preferred way to read it, as long as I can get that dang app to work, because I still need to fix a few bugs in it. I was just very surprised that no one's really been like, that's pretty awesome that they're adding 20,000 books plus new books that are a year out, because I know there's a few Rebirth lines that I wanted to read. I definitely wanted to read the entirety of the Joshua Williamson Flash, which I think like the first arc or two are already on there for a lot of the stuff. So there's definitely that. So I want to read that. I eventually do want to read all the Bendis stuff just to see if his stuff makes sense yet, because to be honest, like that whole Action 1000 and Superman #1 thing, I was just not a huge fan of that issue. So I dropped it pretty much immediately. But if I can just fire up an app and read them for what I'm already paying a month, I would be more inclined to see what's going on in his run. So I probably want to read that. I hear the Tom King I Am Bane is pretty good, so I do want to read that. That may actually already be on there. I just need to look, but I'm not going to pick up the Tom King run of Batman just because I've been so burned and disappointed tons of times. So I just figured I'd get some of your guys' feedback on that. And it looks like, according to the Great Legend Show, we'll be talking about this topic this Friday, because the Comic Core hasn't talked about digital yet. So I'll definitely bring it up so we can get Legend and Chad's feedback, because I know we're definitely talking about that on these crazy off-air things. So we'll talk about that more this Friday, because we know the Comic Core loves them some digital comic books. All right, let's see what's going on in the chat, because we did have some more people pop in here. Let's see. Catherine says she's also looking to buy the Gotham City Sirens #1. So, okay, that'd be that. Man, what would Poor Man do if I just sold my Gotham City Sirens the cat? That'd be a funny video to try to get everybody together, but that won't happen because it's staying up there behind that short box. Man, you guys are talking about food in the chat still. I shouldn't have brought it up. So hungry. So, Comics of Bueller confirms digital is the topic for Comic Core this Friday. Hey, we got to talk about something. But just in case you guys didn't know, it's Comic Core is this Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern. You never know what's going to happen on the Comic Core, except for maybe digital conversation. JLS Jesse says, I can't go full digital. Love holding the books in my hands. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way at the end of the day. But sometimes just ease and flow of binge reading something. Like, actually, that's how I've been reading a lot of my Swamp Thing. It's just kind of nice to be able to hit next issue and you can go from there. But like I said, if they fix a few bugs, it'll be perfect. But sometimes it just goes to black and it's just like, seriously, guys, I've had it for a while. Bueller says, and we are covering digital on WrestleMania's pay-per-view review on this Sunday. So I can't wait for that. We're going to talk about digital comics on the Great Legend Show during the WrestleMania, because, hey, 8 hours of WrestleMania just isn't enough. We've got to talk about digital comic books this Sunday. So we'll see what's going on. I was going to shout out this new user named Hypnotic Eyes, but Chad has timed him out. So I don't know what happened there. Hopefully, I'm glad I have some blue wrenches in the chat, it looks like. So that's awesome. We got Bad Dad 320 says he's just dropping by for a visit. What is going on, Bad Dad? So we're gonna do two more things here because I got 12 minutes to wrap this up. Let's see. Can I actually do a screen share and not actually deactivate the feed? Let's see. I haven't botched anything for a minute, so I want to do a quick screen share and see what happens, because I do have to plug Chad's hard work in getting us some awesome content here. So share your screen. Okay, of course, like I said, it's been a while since I did a botch. So let's see. But nonetheless, if you guys can't see what's going on my screen, or you're just staring at my goofy face still, I do want to point out the link below and show you guys the Comic Core t-shirts that Chad put together. So there's 5 t-shirts you guys can pick right now, and for 2 days only, it looks like you can get them for a percentage off at 14 bucks a piece. So we got the Comic Core shirt. We got a Gone Too Soon shirt. I forgot to talk about that at the top of the show. So we got hashtag Gone Too Soon. I know Legend loves him some Gone Too Soon. I'm glad Kat Ren's here because we have her It's Wednesday shirt. So laugh every single time I think about that. So that's probably like probably the best shirt of the bunch. Don't know if I'd wear it in public, but it's an awesome shirt nonetheless. Of just Starfire acknowledging Wednesday. Of course, we got the newsstand t-shirt. So I'm guessing Chad does like him some 8675309 song because that's the barcode, even with the O and all. So I enjoyed that. And then there's that B Show Comic Core Unloaded. It's just, who wants a shirt from there? Anyway, but nonetheless, if you guys want some t-shirts, I think you can actually get like stickers and coffee cups and everything, hoodies, baseball, long sleeve tees with this stuff on there. So it's a pretty cool thing Chad has put together here. So definitely appreciate him doing that. All right, so it looks like we're back to me, and I didn't destroy the feed, but you guys probably didn't even see it because I don't know. That's what I do. I botch things. So let's see what's going on in the chat before we get into our final topic of the night. JLS says someone should do a comic haul live from Taco Bell. I think Legend did that already. I know Legend's definitely done a plug for an auction and a line for Taco Bell Drive Up. I think I was there the time he did that. So, yeah, like I said, I think it was GPAP who told us everything's kind of been done already, except me and Chad still got to make candles while talking about comic books. That hasn't been done. Please, no one steal that. Maybe that's another T-shirt idea, Chad. Can we just get, candle making T-shirt for the Comic Core? Maybe we'll see what happens. Sam says he's done a haul from the mall. Hey, there's a rhyme for you, Legend. That's the best I got. I'm sorry. Steven Spock's talking about Mexican pizzas. All right, I got 9 minutes now to talk about wrestling because I don't want to step on my friend Israel and his live stream coming up. But, when the hat comes on, we're talking some wrestling. So all you comic fans, you can go, I guess. But if you like wrestling, we'll talk wrestling for the next 5 or 10 minutes. So as you guys know, we have a little event called WrestleMania 35 coming up this weekend. And wow, it's a weird thing. It's like I'm almost not looking forward to WrestleMania because it's 8 hours or something like that this year. And we've got the Hall of Fame. We've got NXT TakeOver. It's going to be I don't know why I didn't take it off work. I actually have to work Sunday. It sucks, so I probably won't be able to watch the entire show till the rest of Monday morning maybe, or I might just stay up all night. We'll see what happens. Or I might just watch on my phone and on my iPad and on my TV to try to get all the matches watched. We'll see what happens. But nonetheless, I just wanted to go over a couple matches overall this weekend I was looking forward to. So I guess the first ones, the main ones I'm looking forward to, honestly, are the TakeOver ones because I believe, and I've tried to actually, since I know I'm going to be burned out on wrestling after like next Tuesday because Raw and SmackDown too, you got to watch those because they're always great after Mania. So I think Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano are fighting for a vacant NXT championship. So right there, that's a money match there automatically. And it's weird because I'm used to both those guys running heel, but I'm guessing Adam Cole is going to kind of play the baby face since, the Undisputed Era is as cool as the NWO was basically back in the day. So it's like, Adam Cole, baby. Yeah, you got to root for him, right? But, Gargano's been around so long, I wouldn't mind seeing him get the championship too. So I don't really care who wins that match. It's going to be a great match. And I think they're having a UK match on there as well. I'm really looking forward to that. So you've got the Bruiserweight, Pete Dunne versus Walter, which as soon as Walter walked out on UK, you wanted to see this match. And I've just been starting to get used to Walter watching NXT UK. This guy is awesome. He's just this big brute, and his chops are just ridiculous. So, like in his first match, he chopped a guy. It's just like, boom, and his handprint came up on this guy's chest. They took a high-res picture of it and showed it on WWE.com, and you can literally see this big handprint. It's ridiculous. So there we go. All right, see you, dude. Anyway, and of course, we got WrestleMania coming up this Sunday night. So There's a few things I'm looking for on that. First off, Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar. It's going to be a great match. Can't wait to see that. I sure hope. We always say this. It's getting to the point where we say this every single time. But I sure hope they take the belt off Brock. Give it to Rollins, because Rollins has worked real hard and hasn't had a really good title run since his heel days. So hopefully they fix that problem and just give him the belt, because there's so many good feuds that could come out of a Seth Rollins title run. The main one I'm thinking is Drew McIntyre. So if they can get McIntyre out of that Reigns match with momentum somehow, I would like to see, going into Backlash or Extreme Rules, whatever's after that, McIntyre versus Rollins for the Universal title. So I'm hoping that's what they're kind of setting up down the line. Then JLS just point out in the chat, Orton versus Styles. I'm actually looking forward to that match too. People, they kind of give flack to Randy Orton being in a one-on-one Mania match, but he's like, for his age, he's still like one of the best. He's almost like grizzled veteran that they have now on the roster. And you're really just going to see one spot where AJ probably goes for that phenomenal forearm or gets popped up really high in the air and eats an RKO, and maybe eats, or maybe kicks out at 2 because it's WrestleMania and everyone's going to kick out finishers at 2 all night. So that'll be a pretty solid match. Definitely looking forward to the women's main event. I've been saying probably for 6 months now, I figured the women were going to main event this year's WrestleMania with Charlotte and Ronda Rousey. Somehow over the course of since SummerSlam, Becky Lynch is really just like, she has just smashed her way into this main event picture. So, kudos to her, because this match was never designed to have her in it originally. So Vince definitely had to turn his head and be like, wow, people love Becky Lynch. So pretty much post SummerSlam, she had to be shoehorned into this whole thing. So kudos for that booking. It's one of the few things that they booked pretty well so far, I think. Even though last night's segment I did watch on YouTube was really goofy. My favorite part about that segment last night, if you guys haven't watched Raw, it's like they all 3 got arrested, thrown in cop cars, and were kicking each other. Someone on Twitter actually took that and added sound effects that were like cartoon sound effects of them kicking each other. So it was really funny. But nonetheless, I'll have a really cool matchup, I'm sure, tomorrow. Or I'm sorry, Sunday. Sorry, like I said, I've been working nights. I haven't slept too much. So looking forward to that. And what else was I looking forward to? I always look forward to the Battle Royals, as cheesy as they are and as goofy as the winners are on the Battle Royals. They're always kind of fun, like pre-show filler, basically. I feel super bad for Asuka, though, because she's going into Mania with the championship. She had momentum on her side. Then 2 weeks out, or actually not even 2 full weeks, like a week and a half out, they just give the belt to Charlotte so they can add the stakes to the main event. And now she's in this Royal or Battle Royal match. Like, come on. Asuka deserves better. But hopefully they'll get some sort of heel Asuka run out of this. And that way we can get Kairi Sane versus Asuka post-Mania. Calling it now. That's the match I want to see. So that'd be a good SmackDown for you to kind of revitalize the SmackDown women's division, because they've just sapped that thing dry to feed Raw's women's division. And Daniel Bryan, Kofi, that's going to be great. We all know that's going to be great. As much as I want to see Kofi win the belt, and he probably will, I think Daniel Bryan is the best book guy they've got going right now. So you can't go wrong with Daniel Bryan. I have loved every minute of this, like, eco-friendly, the new Daniel Bryan ending the the Yes movement. It's all been great since he's like turned on AJ Styles and that stuff. It's been my favorite thing going in WWE besides Becky Lynch. So definitely looking forward to that match. And you know what? Given the belt to Kofi, that definitely opens up the whole New Day breakdown. I think, you give the belt to Kofi, and then you build that feud going to SummerSlam in August between the New Day triple threat match for the belt. I think that's written in stone. So that's just some of the highlights I've been looking forward to. So we got 2 minutes to go for the 8:30 hour. So let's go ahead and get into the chat, and we'll wrap this thing up before that's Fred Bueller's comment. Hypnotic Guys, 2-time champ. If you're still watching Hypnotic Guys, thank you for joining us. I do greatly appreciate everybody who joins this live stream. We got, Spidey Fan is in the chat. Spidey Fan, I will send your package out tomorrow, buddy. Like I said, I've been working on nights. I'll use some C2E2 programs. I'll be sending those your way tomorrow, since I have tomorrow completely off for New Comic Book Day. Thank goodness. So I just hadn't had a chance to respond to your Instagram post yet. But Spidey, I'll be sending your stuff out soon. Steven Spock says, got a WWF Nintendo King of the Rings unopened game for sale. That's pretty cool, man. Those as much as I like to hate on LJN, I do have a soft spot for the Super Nintendo LJN games. Ooh, interesting, Chad. Let's see what else we got in the chat. Great Legend says, Sam, I want her to come down at the end and beat the mess out of all them women in the main event. He's talking about Asuka. That would be pretty cool if just somehow like Becky wins like both belts, raises them up, and then just eats a kick to the face from Asuka, and that's what like ends the show. That'd be super interesting, actually. Poor Man says Kofi will have the match of his life. I'm sure he will. Brandon Stowinski says, I will be selling a TMNT Universe #1 signed by Kevin Eastman along with 2 through 5. That's cool. I missed out on that one, that Raphael lot you had a couple weeks back. I'm still disappointed in that. So I'll definitely at least pop in the auction and say hi to you guys and bid on a book or two, most likely. Great Legend says, Becky wins the Raw belt from Ronda and Charlotte keeps the SmackDown belt. The tag champs come to the ring, Bayley and Banks, and they have a curtain call, huge hug, fade to black. So I didn't watch all of Raw. Are they having it like where I thought it was is it winner take all, like one fall to a finish, or is it like there's going to be a fall for the SmackDown belt and a fall for the Raw belt? Because I was kind of hoping they just unify it and call it a day. We'll see. I don't know. I feel like the brand split is coming to an end. I don't know if anyone else really feels that, but I mean, I think they even had like the freaking Iconics on Raw last night for no reason, and all these NXT call-ups can just go wherever they want. So I don't know. Like, I'm guessing that they're going to do a quick shake-up next Monday or Tuesday, or advertise it and do it the following, because usually they're doing some crazy overbooked stuff the Monday because there's insane crowds that they want to pander to. So we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if they just came out like, yep, screw the brand split, we're done. Here's something about the Fox SmackDown deal. But, they might strengthen the brand split because I think Fox wants their own thing with SmackDown. So who knows? All right. So with that being said, it's about 8:30. I think Comic Spectre just went live. There's probably all kinds of other crazy live. I thank you guys so much for joining me on this Tuesday. For me, just winging together slide. Because like I said, I've been working nights. It's literally like an hour, like 20 minutes before I start. I was like, what am I going to talk about tonight? And I'm just like, screw it. I'll talk about DC Stream app and, keep the wrestling fans in the house for a little bit longer. But nonetheless, thank you guys so much. Speaking of wrestling, that keeps following me. That guy Sting, once again, up in the Raptors. There he is. We got the NWO. They're coming out the ringside. We got to go, but the tape machine's